Well, hello, mamas. We are talking about another emotion today. Today's focus is all about sadness. Okay. Yesterday was anger. Today we're talking about sadness and how it impacts your teens' love of learning and impacts your teens' ability to learn. So, if you want to share, would love to know what has made your teen sad, maybe even depressed, when it comes to school, so that way I can offer some personalized advice and maybe even bring in some other experts that focus on depression, on anxiety, on that idea of sadness. Okay, because definitely sharing my personal experiences, definitely sharing what I've seen as a tutor, as a CEO and founder of Ace Cookie Tutoring and Study with Jesse. Okay, and I also want to tell you I have some help, some tips for you when it comes to homework. So grab my homework buster at the link below after the video. So, sadness. What's the most important thing I can tell you, mamas? Well, all the emotions we're talking about are going to make it harder for your teen to learn. They're going to make it harder for your teen to focus, to stay distraction free, to really stay with it, okay, and learn whatever it is they're supposed to be learning that day at school. Now, with sadness, especially, do know it's really, really easy to get consumed. It's really, really easy to kind of go into that pit, to really, only focus on what is bothering you. Now, for your teens, if you know, you know, but if you don't, and again, I'm not an expert, I'm not a therapist, brain scientist, anything like that, but definitely do know your teen's brain isn't completely developed. Like it is still literally restructuring itself, still literally forming parts and, getting to that point where it is developed until they're in their 20s. So definitely your teen doesn't know how to deal with some of these big emotions. Okay, so definitely one of the things I want to share with you all today when your teen is feeling sad, we've got to help your teen, A, recognize that's what's going on, and B, what are those next steps? Okay, because if your teen goes to school really upset, really sad, now that's one thing. But if something happens at school to make your teen really upset, really sad, that's a totally different thing. So we want your teens to be prepared for both. Okay, so if something's happening at home, whether it's something serious like a family member dying, whether it's something kind of sad like your team didn't make the sports team or your child, found out you guys are moving or, something even very, very minimum. You were out of chocolate Pop Tarts and that's your teen's favorite flavor, whatever is going on, definitely do know your teen might be sad before he goes to school. Okay. And we want your teens to know they're sad and we want your teens to actually know what to do about it. Okay. So this idea of resilience comes up a lot. So definitely do know if your tweens, your teens, your college kiddos are resilient, then sadness won't impact them as much because they'll know they're sad and then they'll know how to bounce back. But if that's not something you're familiar with, definitely would love to talk to you more about it. I have all sorts of amazing resources I can share with you, my own and others. And do know we want your teens to know it's okay to be sad, but also to know it doesn't have to end there. Like they don't have to stay sad. They don't have to get to the point where they're so sad that they're depressed or that they're so sad that they think that it's just over. Okay, we don't want your teens to feel that way. Okay, so a couple more thoughts to share with you here on how to help your teens if something at school happens that makes them sad. Before I do, though, thanks for watching here on YouTube. Thanks for watching on Facebook. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow Ace Cookie Tutoring because there will be more videos all about emotions as well as all sorts of study tips for your tweens, teens, and college students. All right. So say something happens at school. What do? Well, we want to know what it is that made your teen sad. Okay, so this is one of those things that we want your teens to feel comfortable sharing with you, moms and dads, and parents and guardians that are watching. We also want your teens to know what to do if it just kind of comes out of nowhere. Okay, this is when the idea of triggers happen. This is when, maybe something gets said or a test gets handed out and your teen kind of has a freak out moment. I mean, we've all been there, whether we're a student, whether an adult, something happens that we're not prepared for. Okay, so maybe your child gets that test back that he studied for, he felt really confident about, and he failed. Or maybe your daughter got a grade back on a project, and again, she thought she did really well, met all the requirements. she practiced, and then she got a C. And she's an A student. So definitely lots of emotions happening there. Probably a lot of happiness not happening, a lot of sadness, probably more than anything. Maybe even some disappointment, because we can pretty much disappointment can lead to sadness. Generally, we're not happy when we're disappointed if we don't know that it was a learning opportunity. So that's something I want to talk about too, is your teens need to have that mindset of, oh, okay, it didn't go like I wanted it to. Oh, didn't go like I expected it to go. Especially for teen, thought he did really well, or she thought she, kind of knocked it out of the ballpark. So we want your teens to acknowledge they're sad, kind of accept that, and then figure out, okay, how do I change this, or what am I going to gain from this experience? So we also want to touch on the idea of growth mindset. We want our students, our children, to know, okay, I did this wrong, or maybe I misunderstood this, but it doesn't mean I'm done. Doesn't mean that I'm not capable of learning. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to do better. It just means I don't have it as good and I don't understand it as well as I want to yet. So that magic word yet for growth mindset. So I know I'm throwing a whole bunch of words out there. The idea of resilience, the idea of growth mindset, the idea of acknowledging emotions, the idea of, what sadness can lead into, a lot of different causes of sadness. So definitely if you have questions, drop them below. But do know your teens, if they are sad, whether it's something that happens at school, something that happens before school, after school, that just basically makes its way into the classroom, makes its way into your child's learning experience, it's going to have a negative impact. Okay, we don't remember as well when we're sad. If we are so focused on our emotions, we're so focused on how upset we are, how things aren't the way we thought we want them to be, or how they should be, then our teens really are so more focused on that than on what they could be learning. And sometimes it goes so far as we stay sad and we ignore all the good stuff. We ignore all the happy things. Okay, because I can tell you from personal experiences, if I get bad news in the morning, especially when I was a teen, especially when I was in school, it was really hard not to let that impact that class, let alone my next couple classes, sometimes the entire school day. So we want our teens to, yes, be okay being in the sadness, being in the disappointment, maybe even we don't want our teens to be depressed, but definitely, knowing it's not over. We want our teens to know there is still hope. We want our teens to know, okay, yes, you're sad. Yes, it's okay to be sad, but what can we do? How can we fix this? How can we move into the next feeling? What's that thing that we want to have happen instead of being sad? So thank you so much for watching. Remember, there is that Homework Buster, which is 5 tips to bust through your teens' homework objections. Those are available when you grab my Homework Buster at the link below. Click on that, provide your email address, and I will email that Homework Buster to you. And do know, no matter what emotion your teen is feeling, we will definitely talk about it this week, or be happy to share about a specific question you have, whether it's here live or whether it's an email or even a chat we set up one-on-one. And if you have specific questions about therapists, about counselors, about the brain science of emotions, I'd love to refer to you all of the amazing speakers and experts and ladies and gentlemen I've met throughout my business, let alone different avenues of connections. So thank you. Have an awesome day, and we'll see you tomorrow for a video all about overwhelm. Bye, mamas.